life was stolen from me from 3 pills. I didn't eat for a month, and people told me that you can't live without food for a month, but I did. Somehow I did. My husband is a disabled veteran, and I was his primary caretaker for 10 years before I got sick, and the thought of me not being around. My name is Talia Smith. I was diagnosed with a UTI in April 2021. A UTI is a urinary tract infection, which means you have bacteria in your bladder. I took 3 pills of Cipro that ultimately landed me in hospice, but when I was prescribed the antibiotic, I had heard that it was strong, but I'm not a doctor, and I was told, no, there's nothing you need to know. The symptoms progressed drastically and quickly, from having pain in my heels, numbness, tingling. It was in my hands. I was getting electrical jolts in my head like zaps. It's just an antibiotic in my mind. And I went to bed and I was limping, and I said, well, I'll be better. And that's when I went to the emergency room and said to the doctor, I woke up and I cannot walk. He specifically said Cipro, and I said, oh my God, yes, I've been taking Cipro. Why? There is a black box warning label. Black box warnings are issued by the FDA, and they are the strongest warning possible that you can give to a medication. It means that there are some sort of severe side effects. And in the case of fluoroquinolones, they are severe and disabling. My vision drastically changed instantly. I developed problems swallowing immediately. I started losing weight rapidly, unable to keep anything in my body. I started having itching and burning everywhere, like my skin was on fire. I couldn't get my hands above my head. I couldn't take even a step without a walker. Today, I no longer trust the medical system like I used to. I put my whole life into that system, into that specific doctor's hand, only to end up on hospice. And I think that's very unfair. Just because a doctor doesn't understand something doesn't mean that it's not real and it doesn't exist. My life was stolen from me from 3 pills. I'm still on palliative care. My survival depends on other people taking care of me. If I did not have other people taking care of me, I would not be here today to tell my story. What kept me strong during this time was my will to stay here with my husband. My husband is a disabled veteran, and I was his primary caretaker for 10 years before I got sick. And the thought of me not being around, I was trying as hard as possible to stay here for my husband because I was his primary caretaker, and after I got sick, I could no longer care for myself or for him, and I didn't know what was going to happen to him if I was gone. And that thought alone, I couldn't handle it. And when the kids got there too, then I told them I wouldn't see their weddings or be a part of their life. Whatever happened that day too, whatever little flame that was still in me that was smoldering, I was really fighting for them more than for me because of the pain and the agony that I was in every day. I still am. There's no quality of life when you have a chronic illness like this. I'm sharing my story today, and this is the most important part, to put myself out there in a way that I never would have before, because I don't want anybody watching this interview to end up like me. So the way you can avoid that is do not take antibiotics unless you absolutely have to. If you have to take an antibiotic, ask for an alternative for a fluoroquinolone. The FDA states they should be used as last resort when no other treatment options are available. And if your doctors don't know that, you need to tell them. If a doctor tells you that a medication is safe, double check it, triple check it, just to be sure. And lastly, just because someone has an MD at the end of their name doesn't mean they know everything.